What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're in Studio A, as you can see, and we're in here because it's time to work on the Neve. So I got this Neve a little over a year ago, and it was in pretty rough shape. I mean, it worked, but I think the reason why the studio that I got it from in Memphis, Tennessee, why they got rid of it was because it just needed so much service, and these are the type of things that really you do have to service them and keep up with it. And it's not just something where you buy it and you use it and it's just good. I mean, it's an old piece of equipment. There's a lot going on inside, as you can imagine, but it was definitely something that I was interested in because I like going through these types of things and just getting it back to where it was. This console is kind of in rough shape. It works great right now. There are some inconsistencies across the channels because when I first got it, the biggest task was to get it into the studio, which actually was more in depth than you would think. It was just really hard with the way the hallway is in here. But yeah, once I got the console into the room, the first thing was kind of like going through, making sure everything was working properly as far as like not catching on fire, I guess. And I did a few sessions with it, and I realized that there was some noise, some inconsistencies in between preamps and EQs. Some of the buttons didn't latch down. Some of the functionality just on like the buttons that you're pressing right here in the middle section and all that wasn't really functioning properly. So my first task was down below. There's a whole cage of cards, and that's the mix card box. And I went through every single card and I recapped all of them. None of them needed new audio chips or anything like that, but I did do that. And we also, me and my tech mentor at the time, we got down into there and we did some calibration for the new power supply from Malcolm Toff. Just across the board, once I did that, the noise was completely reduced. It's a very quiet board now. That was the main thing down below, I think. There is another cage of cards in the back, and I'll get to that. The console is kind of where it's at right now, so it's going to have to stay there. So what I'm actually working on now is the way I have the board set up now. Out of 36 channels, 26 of them are the original channels that were in the board from Mad Labs, so they're modified to be a little bit cleaner. It came loaded with 36 of the modified channels, but I bought 10 more channels that were just regular stock channels, and I loaded up those 10 on this last bucket. So minus the 2, since there's 12 in each bucket, are non-modified, and then the rest 26 are all modified. So what I'm going to do, since I have some of the channels, as you can see right here, this is a modified channel that I took out. I'm going to open up one of these and get a list and account of what I need to recap the different modules. And I'm going to do them in batches of like 4 at a time. And I will get those recapped. And as I finish, I'll put them into here. And then as I go through, I'll be taking the channels that are modified and putting them in and seeing what the modifications were. Although I am a friend with John now, I can just ask, and he gave me all the documentation actually. That was kind of my plan, why I got the 10 more. I wanted 10 more spares so that I could have the whole board loaded down with channels, but I could have the modified ones out and I could work through and have them so I don't have to be pulling channels all the time. So that's kind of my thinking. And then also while I'm doing that, as you can see, some of the channels, the little caps on top of the knobs, and there's even like some broken knobs, which I'm pretty sure this happened when I was in Memphis getting the console. They had all the channels stacked up on the floor in their tech room, and the engineers, I just don't think, were very careful, and they were walking into the room and kicking this because there's no really other explanation to why that would be bent. Like, no one would be mixing that hard. There's a bunch of little caps missing all over the place, and in between the extra spare 10 channels that I have and a few extra modules that I have that are just not even in the channel, just spare modules, I will get all of these little caps figured out and have the best ones and go from there. And then also, as you see, the some of the buttons, some of these switches, like some of them don't even work. This one is just, as you can see, is just broken. So what I can do is actually, out of all the channels, just kind of take the best switches for cut, solo, um, just do that. But there's also a company, CML Audio, and they make an upgraded switch for all of these for the Neve, and their LED lights behind it too, because these have the little incandescent bulb in it, which is kind of annoying. I have a bag of the bulbs, but they're just kind of annoying. So that would be nice to get all of those perfectly working. Since these don't actually work, I end up using just like the cut and solo that's on the channel right here. But I will eventually get those. But those CML switches are like $21 each or something. And I think that the company will give you a discount if you buy multiple, but it's not like a huge discount. So 36 channels, 3 switches each. And if I wanted just some spares from my spare channels so that when I drop new channels in, you know, maybe like 2 or 3 extra, you're talking like a couple grand just for switches. And they need to be soldered in and out. So it's not even just the switch itself, it's the labor. So I'll get to that. And then there's other things like, as you can see here, there's some discoloration from just usage, I guess. And, you know, some buttons that are kind of weird. And we'll get through all that cosmetically. But yeah, the first main thing is the biggest overhaul is going to be the channels, because I think I saw a video before. It was like each channel from a Neve VR has like 1,000 capacitors in it or something crazy, like 500 or 1,000 capacitors or something like that. And there's a guy like at Abbey Road Studios or somewhere over there in London that they have a Neve VR, and the guy takes like a month to get through like a few channels or whatever, or like the whole board, you know, it takes him like that long every single day. So that's why I'm going to break it up into, you know, 4 channels at a time, get it just consistent. Because really, me personally, when I'm cutting a band, like I might get up to like 18 or 20 channels. But when you're doing like a full mix down and you might want to sum through the board, we kind of need more channels. So I am going to work through the board, but my goal is to kind of like initially get at least like 20 of them good. Probably I'll just work my way through and get 2 full buckets done. I also, in the middle right here where the automation keyboard is, my plan is to take this out, sell this, because I got rid of the automation, the flying faders computer and all of that. I don't need it. So I got rid of it. I'll take this out and make another plate with, which is actually going to end up being like a spot to maybe put like the remote for the TV up here, or I don't know, some little toy or something like that, a little your phone, something like that. It'll be meant for that instead. And yeah, I mean, other than that, you know, there's just little things like we'll get through the faders, open them up and clean them. I still do actually have the power supply for the faders. I kept that because you can plug them in and just get like power assist to make them glide smoother instead of just doing it without the power. So we'll get that going, clean up all the faders. And also I redid this with suede. It was worn out, elbow marks on it. So I redid this with gray suede, but it's already worn out because we've had this for a year. So I'm going to do this again with black suede. But yeah, the first thing, as I said, we have a channel out. So I'm going to take this back into the tech room and we're going to open up the channel and kind of just go from there. I need to really, like I said, I'm focusing on the preamp and compressor module, the EQ, and the mini fader section. I will get to the aux matrix and cards in each, or modules in each channel, but I actually don't use this to mix on the board very much, or at all really. So my whole thing is just tracking through it. That's how I use it. Love or hate that, I don't care. But yeah, so let's actually do that. I'm going to take this into the tech room and we'll get cracking on it, just opening it up. I really just need to see like what's inside so that I can start ordering parts for it. Okay, so the first thing is taking off the back of the channel. And so we're focusing on, I know this is a weird angle, this is a small tech room, but this is the mini fader section, this is the EQ, this is the auxiliary, and the preamp and the compressor. So I need to get these three modules out, and then we'll focus on this later. But for now, I'm going to focus on the preamp. This is holding the modules in, these little screws up here. And then there's like this piece of plastic down here, kind of, if you can see this, it holds them together. So for now, I'm going to keep that on, but I'm going to undo these from the actual frame. Got some movement now. Take off this little piece. So here's the mini fader module. Put this down here. EQ module. Man, that thing is dirty inside. Again, I just got this board like a year ago, and I spent a majority of the time just getting it in the studio and getting it functioning. It worked, but it needs a lot of work. So there's the preamp and compressor module. Okay, so we have the preamp and compressor module right here. And let's do it this way. Pretty dirty in there. I have some duster, but let's just get a count, because I'm curious now from that guy that I saw in London. 28, 30, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, So just in this one section, there's like 42 capacitors. This is the EQ. Take this module apart. Do it from this side. So that's the EQ module. Last one is the mini fader, which, if I remember correctly, the mini fader section has the most capacitors. It actually, when you're like have the board on, it gives off the most heat. Oh yeah. We got some stuff going on in here. Let's air this out. Some meltage going on here. Yeah, I'd say this has a ton of caps. It's like all these white ones and purple. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Yeah, so in between these three modules, the mini fader, the EQ, and the preamp and the compressor, it's probably like 250 caps just in there, just alone, each channel. And I still have the auxiliary section and another part of the channel. So that's pretty crazy. But yeah, now I can get a reading of what all I need. All right, so I got all my modules out right here. This is the mini fader, the EQ, and then the preamp and compressor. And I've already actually opened them up, as you've seen. And I got a good count of all the capacitors that I need. Even some over here where we have some that actually needed to be replaced anyways. You can see the bulging on the top of those capacitors. And we can see that they heated up for sure. So those definitely need to be replaced. And I see one over here was kind of bulging on top. It was my plan to go through everything anyways, so that's what I'm doing. This mini fader section has so many capacitors. So just to give you an idea, just these three modules, the mini fader section, the EQ, and the compressor and preamp, there's 175 capacitors just in these three. And then each channel has two more modules in it. So I don't even know. We're getting up towards maybe 250, 300 capacitors each channel. It's pretty crazy, but I got the capacitors on order. They'll probably get here next week. And I'll be able to break out the soldering iron. just for the end of the video, I wanted to kind of get some more close-up so you can see some of the damage and kind of condition she's in. Internally, it's really actually nice. There's just all of these buttons, a lot of them are missing. I have a bunch of these to go through in between all my spares. Little surround sound section. And I'll go through more of this in different videos, different segments. Well, that's all I got for this video. I know it's kind of a boring video, but I'm definitely going to have so many more videos coming for the Neve console. There's just so much going on with this board that I can't really cover it just in like 1 or 2 videos. It's going to be really interesting, and it's going to be a great journey and kind of see this thing kind of come back to its original glory. Probably even better with some of the updates in technology and capacitors nowadays. But yeah, definitely subscribe, guys. Like the video, share with people, let them know that this is the project I got going on. I think this is kind of one of those things that, you know, not many people have going on or document it, or it's not very exciting to document. So I'm trying to, you know, tap into that, and yeah, we'll see where it goes with it.